Welcome to this space. I'm very glad that you're here. This is going to be my very first video that I post on this channel. And I just wanted to start by saying the reason why I wanted to start this channel in the first place is basically to document my own journey, for one, and also to be able to hopefully share some insights and wisdoms that I have collected. And I just wanted to have a place, a safe space where I'm able to share that to whoever that's in need of that information. So I hope some of you are able to resonate with what I share on this channel, or maybe not, which is also fine. This idea came at a very interesting time. I was feeling extremely depressed for whatever reasons, and I believe I was also going through PMS at the time. So my mood was in a mess and I couldn't sleep. It was really strange, but my mind just arrived at this idea of, oh, I should probably document my journey. I started doing body recomposition earlier this year. That's also when I first learned about the term, even though I've been training for years before, but always wanted a certain physique. As I was going through this body recomposition journey, I discovered many things that went so much more beyond what my body changes could ever given me. The sacrifices or the changes I have to make in life in order to make this goal achievable taught me so much more beyond just having an ideal physique. Because it's really not just about how your body looks eventually. It is about the process, the journey, and the things that you have to do and sacrifice, and the mindset shift and the identity change, everything that goes into accomplishing this one goal. And eventually you got to a point where you realize that it's not even the goal that's important, and you just start to embrace the journey itself, which is essentially the most important part. I'm sure we will have all the time in the world to unpack my journey of my own transformation in my future videos. But today I don't want to make this video too long. So I came up with this 5 points or 5 truths that I have learned this year that truly have helped me to upgrade my life. So here we go. The first one that I've learned is that consistency is literally the key to unlocking everything that you want in life. And I know this is probably really intuitive, and you probably heard this hundreds of times on the internet. Everybody's talking about consistency, but it never gets old because it is just the truth. It is the truth of unlocking everything that you want. That perfect body, the healthy diet, perfect relationship, the money, the lifestyle, the friends, everything that you deem desirable in life came from having a consistent lifestyle. So if you are not able to stay consistent in your own life with the things that you're trying to accomplish, then nothing is going to come out of it. We can all want the same things, but the only difference is execution. So being able to put in action during the hard times, not just when you're feeling good. We all know how those times feels like. It's just like feels easy to stick to your goals, but it's really about the days where you feel off and you feel unmotivated and you feel like shit, but you just know that, okay, regardless, I need to do the things that I have on my calendar. And it's literally those tiny decisions that seems tiny, but actually it's not. Over time, if you look back, almost 100% of the time, you will be like, oh, I'm really glad I made that decision for myself. So consistency really helped me to achieve the goals that I have never imagined to be able to achieve. And it's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's really just about being able to repeat the seemingly boring stuff over and over again until you see changes. So from quantity to quality. All right, on to the next one. The second truth that I've learned this year that helped me to upgrade my life is to become the center of your own life. We all sort of have an intuitive understanding of what that means, is to truly put yourself on the top priority of your life. I know this is probably a hard truth for most, especially women, to hear, because as a woman myself, we are naturally trained to be agreeable, to be nice. Our brains are just wired to believe that we should put our needs below other people's needs. We should take care of other people first before we take care of ourselves. This is something that I had to really feel deeply and tap into to understand what exactly it means to be the priority of my life. So I had to learn this one the hard way. And maybe some of you can relate to this one. The idea itself is very abstract, and people rarely talk about how exactly. It's like people say that you should put yourself first and you should prioritize your own feelings, your schedules. But I feel like nobody really tells you about the practical steps of how exactly you can execute or you can embody this rule. And that has to come from a genuine love towards your own life, to embrace the imperfections and to truly accept who you are and have a life that you're truly passionate about. And I think that really takes time to develop, to finding things that you truly are passionate about in life, that you truly love to do, the things that inspires you, the things that just fills you with unlimited amount of positive energy. And you really, it takes time, it takes courage, it takes a certain level of confidence, but I think in the end it's all worth it. And it's something that I think especially women, have to be able to do. The next one that I have on my list is compartmentalization. This is something that I started to learn probably just the past year or so, as I was just navigating, for most people, navigating through their 20s, especially post-graduation. You enter this period where you don't really know what you want and who you are, because you are just out of school and you've never really stepped foot into the real world. It just takes a certain amount of time and lessons and negative experiences and interactions to truly learn what your values are and where you stand in society, to be able to develop a sense of self-identity that is unshakable, or that is not as easily shaken as it was before when you were younger and just more naive. So what I mean by compartmentalization is as we're adulting, I started to realize that life is composed of so many different parts. You have your work, you have your personal lives, you have your relationships, you have families, and of course it occupies different capacities and different energetic fields of your being in order to deal with these different things in life. And sometimes I think when we're younger, it's really easy to blur the lines in between. For example, let's say if I encounter something in my relationship world and I would let that emotions cross over to my professional lives and let emotions get in the way of me trying to get things done. So over time, I learned that it is not a good thing to have. Having a very blurred boundary in between these sectors, it really gets in the way, and eventually had to learn the hard way. It's just like you have to be able to learn that these things, they can coexist at the same time. Not that we have to resolve and fix every single problem when they appear, being able to function in one segment of your life while putting the other one on hold until you have the mental energy to attend to this other issue, whatever this other issue is. I just think that this is such an important skill to have in order to not letting life control you, but you are behind the steering wheel of life. Next one, number 4. I guess this one's also kind of related to the last point I was talking about, is basically to stop letting emotions get in the way, because I learned that emotions literally have zero correlation with the shit that you need to get done. So basically what I tell myself these days, I think this is said by Layla Homozy in one of her videos. So what they said is, fuck your emotions, just do the thing. And I truly think that, as harsh as that may sound, I truly believe that there is so much truth to that sentence, because this is something that has deeply ingrained in my brain right now, is don't let your emotions dictate your day. Don't let your emotions get in the way of your plans, because at some point we have to learn. This goes back to the third point, which is compartmentalization, to be able to compartmentalize your emotions with the things that you need to get through, instead of letting your emotions get in the way of doing these things, which is absolutely, I think, is something we have to be able to practice, especially for women. We just naturally have a more emotional brain. Our brain just naturally produces more chemicals that makes us more emotional, and also with our cycles and everything. So I think women, we are especially comparably more vulnerable to emotions than men. This is something that I have to practice over and over again to train it like a muscle. The last one I have on my list is to form systems and build identities instead of forcing behavioral changes on an old self. I think this one elaborates or builds on the last 4 points I was trying to make. We cannot really force a new behavior onto an old self. Forcing yourself to do something that does not align with who you are is really painful. And eventually you're going to fall off track. Eventually you're going to give up because it does not align with who you are. So before we try to achieve a goal, I think the most important first step that you need to do, or at least I learned to do, is upgrade or to update your identity first, because then you will just act in alignment to this identity, which is so much easier and it feels so much more aligned. So those are the 5 truths I've learned this year through my own experiments and encounters and life experiences. Hopefully this information has been helpful and could resonate with some of you. Again, thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next one.